And diving right into the discussion that we were having before you, IMF has started the negotiation with NFC Awards. And a lot of people want to understand, where does the line draws that? Is this a hardcore restructuring thing that they are demanding, or is this a meddling in the internal affairs of the country? How do you look at it?
Well, I don't think we can call it meddling in the internal affairs of the country. The IMF has flagged the NFC award even as far back as 2013 in their Article 4 report, where they had an entire section dedicated to it. And even in that section, they talked about revamping the award. That's the word they used. The word used recently in the headline of a newspaper is revisit. So I'm not sure what the difference between those two is. But if we look at the last time the IMF talked about revamping the NFC award, it didn't really mean that go ahead and start rolling back the provincial shares in the NFC award. They didn't come out and say that so clearly, but they did say that you need a better balance between expenditure and revenue responsibilities. Because currently all the major revenue lines lie with the government, whereas a lot of the expenditure responsibilities have been devolved downwards. And that's creating a bit of a mismatch, where the federal government does the revenue collection and the provincial governments do much of the social sector spending and much of the other spending associated with it. What they were asking for was a better alignment. They said either get the get the provincial governments to mobilize their revenue lines and their revenue shares, or devolve the responsibilities in such a way that there's a better match between revenues and expenditures. But they did not say that there should be a rolling back of. What's not clear is the substance of the conversations that really took place between the government and the IMF. I don't think it's likely that the IMF told the government something like, you must you must change the provincial allocations and you must pass the associated legislation that goes with it. I think what they would more likely have said is that the NFC award and the kind of, the lack of balance between expenditure and revenue assignments is creating or is at the root of a lot of your fiscal troubles. You need to look at that more carefully. And by the way, revisit the NFC award can also mean just hold a meeting at least of the NFC commission. Because right now, I don't think one meeting has been held since at least, I think 2019 or something was the last time it was held. One was not held during the Imran Khan, the days of the Imran Khan government, or the first PDM government that came in after the vote of no confidence. So even that would be a step forward. If there can at least be a meeting of the NFC Commission, in which the federal government can show up and say, look, we have a problem, and then look for a way within the permissible framework of the NFC to see if they can find redressal and work with the provinces on that. So I would hold back a little bit on leaping to conclusions about what exactly revisit the NFC award actually meant.
Yeah, I asked this because this is a constitutionally agreed framework as an internal thing of Pakistan, and revisiting it, whatever it means, raises certain questions, and I just wanted to have your take on it. A CEO of Pakistan's largest bank has been tapped recently as a finance minister, and this is not the first time that someone from abroad has been brought in as a minister for finance. What is different this time?
That's a good question. I think we're all waiting to see what is going to be different this time. Some of the things on the surface that are different is that, Mohammad Aurangzeb is more of a banker's banker, in the sense that his core expertise actually lies in the financial side of the banking profession. The bankers that we brought in previously, whether Shaukat Tareen or even Shaukat Aziz, were not really those with the financial expertise that goes with banking, number one. Number two, Mohammad Aurangzeb is known to have, as far as his connections with HPL, growing out of his leadership at HPL, extensive connections in China, for example, in the Chinese government. You'll recall HPL was the first Pakistani bank to actually begin operations in China as well. They've moved much further down the road out of all other Pakistani banks in building a network among the Chinese financial system. And in his earliest press remarks given to the media, he did speak about floating a panda bond, for example. Now, this is not the first time that somebody has talked about floating panda bonds, which are bonds floated in Chinese financial markets to tap Chinese capital for government of Pakistan purposes. So, this time round, it's looking like at least some kind of hardcore financial expertise is there in the driving seat. But, whether or not this actually translates into any different kind of economic governance or not, we'll have to wait to find out, because I think the pressures that Mohammad Aurangzeb will have to balance out. He's got a fractious coalition to manage. He's got a civil military equation that
internal realities of Pakistan.
Realities are actually, very complicated, and that is going to impact the character of economic governance that he can bring, and those are things he's going to have to balance out, and that will take some amount of political skill, something that he has not been tested on so far in the course of his 30-year-long career. So I think we'll have to wait to find out the real answer to your question.